What's going on, guys? It's your boy Esteban, also known as Estecow. Welcome to the Wonders podcast. I am here with the homie.
What's up, guys? It's retro underscore loneliness or Nicholas, and yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. A lot of news regarding shows, movies, games, the usual. Like we came from Xbox Showcase and the State of Play. Hey, we're gonna talk about Nintendo down the line. But first, what's on the docket right now, Jessica?
So the first thing we want to talk about is The Boys season 4. That's like the big thing going on right now in like the television landscape. So first, before we get into statistics, I want to hear. I know you've been watching the show. I know I'm obviously up to date with it. I want to know your opinions on season 4 so far, because I know you have some strong opinions, and I just want to hear you express them. And let's get into it.
Well, first of all, I would like to say that the way that this show like is turning up the antics to 1,000 is real. While the some of the plot twists or plot points that they're making in this season are quite controversial for me. They don't really make sense. Someone who used to be like majoring in English in college and stuff. For example, like throughout the majority of all of the seasons, you had a Frenchie who part of the main cast, the roster, and he always hung out with Kimiko, and as viewers were led on to believe that as they kept sticking together through seasons 1 and 3, that they would ultimately like end up together, and then in the same way where they shove Abby to like gamers in The Last of Us 2, they kind of brought this new character the to her as a love interest for Frenchie, and in a throwaway, like almost in a throwaway line, being like, "Oh yeah, Frenchie and everything," or "Me and Kimiko and everything," like one of those two. And like I don't really have a problem with like queer like characters in shows or anything like that. It just would have been a lot more. It would have been easier to digest this if the character was at least introduced in the last season. Like if Frenchie and this guy had a connection beforehand. Other than that, I definitely you definitely see what's his face, the super Homelander get his like taste for milk again in the hunt in the new season, and
Literally.
a lot of the I'm not gonna spoil anything, of course. And then it's interesting seeing a lot of the other soups being involved. It seems like they're definitely taking jabs at a lot of like politically minded individuals for sure to keep it neutral, you know. But what about you, man?
So far, I am really liking the season. I would say for me, peak of The Boys is still season 3 with Soldier Boy. I'm just really attached to that season. But so far, I'm liking the new season. This last episode that just came out was crazy. I'm not gonna get into it, but it has a character called Web Weaver, and it's just crazy. That was a messed up episode. But to go off of what you were saying, personally, I don't really mind because we talked off camera talking about the relationship with Frenchie and Kimiko, and then this other guy that they introduced. So personally, I'm not bothered by it at all because for the majority of the show, they did tease that Frenchie was bisexual and would like lean both ways. And especially in I believe it's season 3, they really do emphasize that him and Kimiko are just friends because he tries to make a move on her and then she shuts him down. And then personally, I didn't really expect them to get together. I do think that the character that they introduced threw me off because like you said, it was sudden. So I do agree with that. But I do like the storyline elements that it brings because not to get into spoilers, I'm not gonna say anything about it. We'll save that once the season is over, then we can give a recap on it or our overall opinions on the show. But it does play into the story of Frenchie a lot this season, and I'm honestly really cool with it. I'm really looking forward to see where it goes from here. Going with what you said, this really is Homelander season. I know all the other ones have been like Homelander, but I feel like the other seasons have been more about the boys trying to get Homelander, and they're still trying to do that. But this one has been like very Homelander like centric, and it's like we're seeing more like the inside of the mind of the character. So this season has been crazy. It's for sure been like it hasn't been the bloodiest, but it has been probably the most crude of the seasons.
I would say that too, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of scenes that like threw me off. There's one specific scene with a character that could turn into or like
Split, maybe?
yeah, it's yeah, basically like duplicate. But yeah, it really is interesting. I would
Mhm.
recommend this show to anyone who is into superheroes and stuff because this show really does do what you were saying, like it makes fun of or like picks at like real life politics, but not also just that, but also just superhero tropes, movie tropes, because like inside the show, we see them like making these movies and we see them making fun of the MCU and like they announce, I think in one of them, they like show the similar to like how Marvel releases their phases, like they do that, but like they show like the next 15 phases. So it's just really funny. And it always goes to make a joke about the hardcore kind of superhero fan base. But yeah, so far I am liking the new season. I do like the introduction of the character Sage. I really like Sage. Firecrack really interesting. And yeah, I would say that. I'm really liking the Deep this season. So far he's been like the one of the standout characters for me this season,
He's
who
funny,
I
bro.
I notoriously did not like the Deep because he was really portrayed a certain way in the first few seasons. But I feel like this is the season for redemption for a lot of the characters. So it's cool seeing that like little flip.
Yeah, especially for
Uh,
Adrian, I think.
yeah, for A Train and you see the Deep. You just see all these characters, like these soups, actually have their own opinions and be more expressive with them. At least when they're not surrounded by everyone. So we, the audience, know that they're not feeling down with all this, all the murder and like all these things that's going on in the universe. But now to go into statistics, bro, season 4 has seen like a 21% increase in viewership from season 3. And right now is among Amazon Prime's top 5 most viewed TV seasons, just right behind The Reacher, which is pretty crazy. I know Amazon Prime doesn't have that many. They do have a few exclusives and like their own shows and stuff, but nothing is as big as The Boys, I feel like. I feel like this is Amazon Prime's definitive property.
Would you say that the if people were to subscribe to Prime, do you think that they should market this to them first over like Invincible?
I haven't seen Invincible season 2 yet, so I can't speak to that. I did really like season 1, but I know that there was such a long gap from I have so many friends who like Invincible and who I've talked about or I've talked to who have seen season 2 and then who have read beyond that for the comics or like the graphic novel, whatever it is. And they've told me that because of how long the gap was in between seasons, and then there was also like a gap in between in the middle of the season, that it killed the hype for the show. So I'm hoping, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's the right property for Amazon to market as its like primary marketing ploy, like marketing device. I feel like The Boys is for sure that definitive property. And it's always one that I recommend to everyone. So that's how I feel on it.
What are if we were to go down the list of like other, like Netflix or other streaming sites, like what would be like their definitive property?
Okay, I mean, you look at HBO, obviously you got Game of Thrones, they got Young Sheldon,
Young Beezy?
yeah,
Oh, for real?
Big Bang Theory. They have DC, they have all these things. So I would say something along those lines. They got Harry Potter. Bro, HBO has like so many of the big kind of hitters. They could honestly just change it every month and it would be like a banger because they have everything. Let's see, for Disney, what would be the definitive thing? I mean, you would have to think it would be like probably Mandalorian, like Mandalorian season 1, season 2, because I feel like that's really what put Disney Plus on the map and kind of really brought everyone to, because that was before the Obi-Wan show, that was before Andor, before all these recent shows that came out, like the Ahsoka show.
Yeah, laid out the framework or the foundation for these other shows to come in.
Yeah, and then it's also probably going to influence the next few movies that are coming out because you have the Mandalorian movie coming out in theaters, I think in 2 years. And that is supposedly going to lead into the whole Avengers type movie with the Star Wars universe right now and have all these characters come together to fight their version of a Thanos villain with Grand Admiral Thrawn. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that. So I'd say that is for sure Disney Plus's marketable definitive show. Let me think. Does Hulu have anything? Oh, The Bear. The Bear. I haven't seen The Bear, but everyone knows The Bear.
So
I know you
true.
love The Bear.
It's such
Yeah.
a good show.
Yeah. I know you love The Bear. Let me see. Peacock. What would be Peacock's?
I don't know, bro. I'm not. I don't.
Okay.
You go.
Okay. Peacock. I'm gonna give it. Peacock should use WWE as its primary thing because that's what it has now. But that's gonna go to Netflix in January. They should use it while they can.
That's crazy. WWE
Yeah.
on Netflix, bro.
Yeah, it's going on Netflix. Monday Night Raw is gonna be on Netflix. All their pay-per-views, all their library is going on Netflix. I know I personally do not have Netflix, and I'm gonna have to resubscribe just to watch wrestling because I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm a major wrestling fan. I have been like majority of my life. So yeah, I would say that for sure is I think is their definitive property because without that, Peacock has like maybe The Office. Yeah, that could be their definitive show.
Yeah. We're picking at straws. And then like last but not least, what is about like Netflix, bro? The OG.
I mean, you would think like I would say arguably their biggest property is either Stranger Things or Squid Game. I would say those are probably the most marketable. It has been a few years since Stranger Things, but I think Stranger Things has it. That's what I think that's what takes the cake for the marketing.
I understand. See, for me, I feel like if I were to, I might be a little biased. You know, maybe I might throw the pizza on the roof. Maybe I might hate my wife. But I think Breaking Bad is like the
I have never heard that phrase, but that is interesting.
Because you know, Walter White doesn't like his wife.
I was gonna say, fun fact, I've never watched Breaking Bad.
That's crazy.
Just putting that out there.
It's all good, bro. But yeah, I feel like, but yeah, those last two lines were Breaking Bad references. But yeah, I would say that the Breaking Bad is the definitive show for Netflix. It's like everyone that I know that has seen Breaking Bad has like seen it like either they're in its original run on AMC or like on Netflix, including Better Call Saul. Like everyone is on that one.
Yeah, I definitely for sure have heard people talk about it. Both of them. I know they're very popular. I just am a little late to the game. I have not watched it yet, but there's like a million things I need to watch. So it's on my list though, eventually.
Got you, bro.
So leading into our next topic, because we're talking about breaking records, with The Boys breaking its viewership record. We look at what's breaking the box office records. We have Inside Out 2 passing Minions as the 5th highest grossing animated film. We got not only that, but Inside Out 2 just is the first film of the year to break $1 billion, which is insane because I was not expecting that. Granted, I have not seen the first Inside Out and I have not seen this movie, so I cannot speak to like how good or the quality of the movie. But what I can speak to is box office sales, and it is doing really good. And not only that, Despicable Me 4 just came out, and it's nearing $230 million. So it's a pretty good for the animated sphere of the industry. What do you think about that?
Disney has always been able to roll out like nukes in the box office from like their Marvel studios to their Pixar, of course. I haven't necessarily been on the Pixar train in a minute. I think they're like looking back, if they were like Michael Jordan's like The Heat or whatnot, it's like that when their first couple run of movies in the 2010s with Wall-E, like Up, what is it, like Ratatouille, like Monsters Inc., and like this Toy Story trilogy. I really like, those were the movies I first was like, whoa, like Pixar or Disney are cool. And then Up is my favorite one. I'm always going to cry bitter tears to that one. It is a good movie. But I unfortunately never saw the first or the second Inside Out. But it's crazy because it's definitely worth mentioning how much it's made, $1.2 billion. And then what is it? I don't know, man. It's insane. And over the weekend, according to Variety, it earned a $78.3 million from 45 major markets. So not globally, but just from like 45 major markets, it made like that much, which is already close to like almost like 100 million right there. And then slightly right behind, as Estecow put it, Despicable Me 4 earned an impressive 73 million over the weekend across 73 markets. And that pushed, according to Variety, the Universal and Illumination Studios film foreign grosses to 106.9 million and its worldwide haul to 229.5 million. So it's not even touching, like it's not even close to the $1 billion mark. So it shows how much, I guess, like movie power, or I guess like theater power, like these Pixar movies still retain after all these years. I definitely wasn't looking into Inside Out 2, but I'm sure a lot of people really enjoyed the first one and were happy to see the second one with a new cast of, not a new cast, but an additional new cast of characters joining the original ensemble from the first one. It's really cool.
What I found really interesting is that I feel like, personally, I didn't really see that much marketing for Inside Out 2 in comparison to Despicable Me 4, because you see Minions like everywhere. Yeah, so it's honestly amazing that, not to downplay it, because obviously it did amazing, but it's crazy to me the difference in the marketing, like how often you see the two in comparison and the difference they did in the box office. So that's interesting. But yeah, no, what you were saying, Pixar has always had a hold on the animation industry. For me, my top kind of Pixar movies, you got The Incredibles, the first one, you got Finding Nemo, you got, I feel like I'm forgetting everything, Up, like you said, just all these big movies that shaped our childhood. I'm happy that they did good, that it did really good. Most likely there's going to be an Inside Out 3. There's no way there isn't.
Inside Out universe.
But
That's
yeah,
crazy.
no, I hope to see more successes in the box office this year. I'm assuming the next $1 billion movie is going to be very soon because we've talked about Deadpool and Wolverine as our expected kind of guaranteed blockbuster for the. So I'm honestly surprised that wasn't the first movie that hit the $1 billion mark. But shit, I'll take it. We just want to see people be successful with their outlets of creativity and all the people who did all the hard work and put all the hard work into making these movies.
Yeah, I agree, especially with the amount of, as we reported, mostly on like studio layouts when it comes to video games. It's maybe I feel like maybe the film industry, especially with the rise of AI, is definitely might be seeing like that same level of layoffs in the future. But it's good to see that the people behind Inside Out 2 are making a record killing with the Billy that they made with Inside Out 2. Although it does still make me lament the fact that like it is a good movie and it definitely looks up to par. I hope that one day Disney is willing to set aside their CGI studios and be willing to go back to doing hand-drawn movies again.
Oh yeah, I would love to see
You know,
that. Even if it was just like one or two movies every so often. Honestly,
yeah, of
just
course. I
you know,
totally agree.
like it's nice to go back to formula once in a while, and
Hmm.
like you said, it counteracts that threat of AI that is haunting over the industry at the moment. Not only the film industry, but just the entertainment industry as a whole, because it's affecting gaming, it's affecting all these other outlets that is like under threat right now because of the rise of AI.
Yeah, like what was the last like what do you think is the last like genuinely good? Well, maybe one could say that they were all genuinely good, but what was the last newest memorable Disney movie that was like hand drawn or in animated in that fashion that you really enjoyed? That you would like to come back and be like have a sequel like done faithfully to the first one.
Let me think. Let me think. I mean, you think of see not a sequel though. See, because a lot of these movies are like perfect. You know, the hand drawn movies. You got one movie I really enjoyed, Princess and the Frog. For me, that was like the last movie that was really like memorable. That was like hand drawn. I watched that with my girl like for the first time a couple of years ago, and I love that movie. So I think that for sure, that and Lilo and Stitch really stood out to me. I know they're doing a live action version of Lilo and Stitch, like a live
Mhm.
action movie. Of course, everything's going to live action, but I would love to see them bring back the Lilo and Stitch show, the animated show.
I remember.
Yeah, why not? Do a continuation of that. Do a hand drawn Disney Plus. Come on, I'm down.
Yeah, Lilo and Stitch Shippuden, where like Lilo is like a teenager now.
Yeah, why not? Tell me that doesn't sound cool.
Yeah, that's
I,
cool.
I would I would rather that than live action, to be honest. I don't think
Always.
what they fail to see, and I feel like fans are thinking is not everything needs a live action adaptation.
I just look at like the what is it, the last like Disney iterations where they did that, especially
Like,
exactly the biggest culprit being Lion King.
yeah, and then right now they're in the middle of doing a live action Moana. I know The Rock just revealed the cast literally a day or two ago. I saw it on Instagram, so that's I don't know. Like I said, I don't think anything or everything needs to be done in live action, especially because if it's essentially a remake, I'm fine with just animation.
Mhm.
So
For me, it would be Treasure Planet.
Treasure Planet, okay, okay.
You remember that one? Dude, Treasure Planet was so amazing. Like it was at that cusp, like in like time where like how to describe it to make it like make a little bit more sense or in a better analogy for some of our listeners. It's like around that period of time where like technology was transitioning in schools where some people were still using the projector where it was just like it would just show like it would display like the piece of paper that the teacher was using
Oh,
and
like the clear sheet?
yeah, or the smart board,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and then of course now you have the digital projectors. And so when Treasure Planet came out, it was like the perfect mix between like CGI and live and like not live action, like animated drawing where it almost worked in like harmony. And I feel like that was when I would say like don't get me wrong, Inside Out 2 like from the trailers looks fantastic. Like you can see all the hair follicles on the happy emoji or happy feelings like head. But to see, I feel like it's like watching a like comic book come to life, or it's something about animated drawing that has that novelty that I don't think it'll ever lose. Because you look at Toy Story 1, and a great movie, great plot, but you could tell it's dated. Like you can definitely tell that it's like a product of its time. But then you switch back and you look at like Treasure Planet, and man, you could still watch to this day, and you could barely you just can't tell. You just won't see any signs of aging, and I feel like that's that part that's like novelty, that magic that like maybe the Pixar movies, including my favorite one like Up, will have to face in the future. That I feel like the animated works will still continue to thrive. I would like to. So Treasure Planet, because Treasure Planet had like a great story, had a great plot, great setting. The set pieces were beautiful. For you? Like, what were the most notable or memorable parts of that movie, if you remember?
Oh, which one? Treasure Planet? Let me see. Oh, there's this one part where it's because they're on the ship and it's floating through the air. I'm like looking at pictures of it because I'm just like, I have it like in my head where it's like soaring through the air. I would say that for sure is I don't know, man. It looks so beautiful. It's so different from like modern day animation. It's just something that you really don't see. You'll see it, but it just doesn't have the same kind of life that this does, or the same kind of like aura that it does. Because it's just something about hand drawn stuff that just sticks out so much, and you could tell how much work goes into it. This animation style really reminds me of a lot of Iron Giant. I would say it's very similar to it, at least from my point of view. Um, but I would say that for sure. That what's the word? That image really stands out for me.
For me, it would be the scene where it's like in the third half of the movie, and like homie's like doing like Tony Hawk flips with the that like that rocket like sailor board thing that he has, and there's a part where it malfunctions, and what happens is he has to restart it using the sparks. Like he has it grinding on like the wall as he's falling, and as he's hitting the ignition, he's using the sparks from the metal hitting the metal from the thruster hitting the wall as it creates sparks to reignite the board so he can fly the hell out of there. And I feel like that part was like insane. Like the way that they animated the sparks as he was free falling, I guess the backdrop was still like like really well drawn for it moving that fast. Like you wouldn't catch a lot of the details, but that level of craftsmanship in that kind of movie, I feel it would be like at least welcome to us. Like we're Gen Z and we're on the cusp of not being like the hip generation anymore. But I would say that like for Gen Zers, or at least early Gen Zers, this would be like I feel like a welcomed like sequel if they made one. Would it hit a 1 point something billion-dollar mark? I don't, maybe not, but I think it would definitely be like a love letter to like animation, especially coming from a corporation like Disney. It was most like more than surely moved more than beyond this style of animation. But speaking of CGI movies and the cultural phenomenons, there's a little green dude, not too little, that is
I was gonna say, you gotta
who is definitely just as layered to his character like an onion. What do you tell me about that one, Esteban?
we were talking about animation and like the difference in animation nowadays. So one thing that that we're gonna talk about is Shrek 5. So if you watched the latest movie, which is connected to that universe, which was Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, at the end of that movie, spoilers, it's been a while though since it's been out. First of all, amazing movie, recommend it to anyone, 10 out of 10 for me. But it teases the return of Shrek and Donkey and Puss in Boots reuniting with them and going back to far away, where they're from and all that. But what makes this so different is the animation style. So Shrek 1 through 4 has, when you think of Shrek, you think of a very specific kind of animation style. It's like a weird 3D animation that tries to be realistic, but also tries not to be. I am really curious with how this next movie is going to look because the last Puss in Boots was the first of that franchise to have a different kind of animation style, which is something that's more similar to Into the Spider-Verse or the latest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
Yeah, like it
Where
didn't
it's,
try to look photorealistic. It
yeah,
was still
it had
CG, but it had its own animation style.
Yeah, and I would say it's more adhered to the comic book kind of style, which is very similar to what you were saying earlier about the hand drawn stuff looking like it's out of a comic book. And so honestly, I'm really excited for it because I feel like the animation, the 3D animation, held it back a little bit from what it could have been because it tried to do these kind of realistic things in a fantasy world when they could have be more experimental with a change in animation. So we're gonna see Shrek 5 sometime in the near future, and not only that, but we're also confirmed a solo Donkey movie with Eddie Murphy. I want to know your thoughts on that because I'm more excited for the solo Donkey movie than I am for Shrek 5
Well,
because
sorry, go on.
personally, I liked Shrek 1 and 2, but I really did not like Shrek 3, and I didn't even watch Shrek 4 to be honest with you.
I don't even remember a Shrek 4, man, to be honest. Like the one of the biggest like things that like separates me. Well, I'm not trying to be like quirky, like I'm not like other girls, like type deal, but I never really hopped on that like cultural like zeitgeist that was like Shrek. Like I watched the movies and I took them as is, and I enjoyed them. I grew up with them. I enjoyed the initial like Shrek memes, such as like Shrek is love, Shrek is life, and like
Oh my
that.
god.
Or
I did
yeah,
not think you were gonna bring that up.
and but like the others, like all the references, like the conventions, saying like catchphrases and those kinds of references in like day to day conversation. Like I never really like did that actively, and so seeing or hearing that there is going to be a Shrek 5 eventually is definitely something that like doesn't really phase me as much. But I might go, but maybe my girlfriend or some close friends of mine, I'm pretty sure they'll probably be more excited. And it probably might be a good popcorn watch. Maybe you might hit the spliffy in the parking lot and then watch it, and it might be even more enjoyable. Maybe so much more that we can even enjoy Shrek 3, as Estecow actively hates. Nah, I'm just kidding.
This took a turn. I was not expecting you to take it where you took it.
And then no, it's all good. And then but speaking on Shrek's sidekick, a donkey. If they were to make a donkey like solo movie, it would definitely they would really have to make it work, and it would have to be. I feel like it would be the best time possible. Would probably be as a prequel where Shrek meets Donkey, because like the way that the run in where they run into each other, it's a setup where Donkey is held up for as a slave, as a fairy tale slave or like ransom at some like fairy tale flea market as like some as like regular farm cattle, farm animals, cattle, like that type of deal. So it would definitely be interesting seeing how Donkey like got there at the end where they met the titular protagonist Shrek. Otherwise,
Oh, okay. Leading into like what the forest scene.
yeah, exactly. So like
Oh,
what
okay.
happened before it?
I see the vision. I see the vision.
Because like the groundwork is there, because if it's a prequel and you know where the movie how the movie's gonna end, then you can just work backwards from the ending to the beginning to see like, all right, how did you get there, what happened in the middle, like oh, next he's getting captured, and then it teased like in some Marvel-esque style way of introducing the two. It would be, oh look, it's like it'll cut to a green hand, and it's like where you see like Eddie Murphy or whoever who does the voice for for Donkey for Shrek. I don't know who does the voice for Shrek, but
Mike Myers.
For Mike Myers, it'll be cool seeing
Austin Powers.
like Austin Powers, like Mike Myers, just being like, hey, and then he says one of the lines from the original movie, and like it ends there. So it's
Donkey.
yeah, yeah, it ends there. Otherwise, if they do it like in the future, then I'm not gonna know what's going on. If it's gonna be like some, oh, wait, isn't Shrek 4 the Rumpelstiltskin one?
Yeah, I was about to
Okay,
say
I
that.
just remembered. If they're gonna do something where, like,
The third one was the King Arthur one.
yeah, so if they're gonna do something like Shrek 4, where it's all about like Donkey and his dragon wife and his half dragon donkey hybrid children, like, guess that's something they could do, or I don't know. I think my favorite character from the franchise is probably like the cat. I think the cat's pretty dope.
Remember?
Yeah, he's definitely. IGN gave it a 9 out of 10 in their review when it debuted, and there's still more that they could do with that movie, with that like character overall. Like they can make it a trilogy and wrap up the story there, and hopefully they don't milk it too much. But yeah, otherwise I don't have much to add regarding Shrek and Donkey and how they could take the series moving forward.
Yeah, for the movie, I honestly don't know where they're gonna go from here. I don't know what the plan is for the storyline wise. But like I said, I'm more excited for the animation aspect to see like how it's gonna look visually. Hopefully it's a good story, but kind of something more reminiscent of the first two rather than three or four. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm more like I said, more excited for the Donkey movie, which is confirmed to feature his dragon wife and his multiple kids, like the weird kids where they're like half dragon, half donkey, and I don't know how that situation works, but excited to see that.
Yeah, something else, man. But hey, on the cut, moving from DreamWorks, bouncing back from Disney to DreamWorks back to Disney, now featuring the Marvel side of things, we have a couple confirmations regarding the much reported on Fantastic Four. We're both looking forward to it. Casting issues, maybe for one of us or some of us. But hey, what's new?
So recently, the head of Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, basically confirmed that Fantastic Four is going to be set in the 1960s. So it's going to be a period piece. And not only that, but it's going to be set in a different universe separate from the MCU. This kind of, first of all, I love this. It makes sense with how when it was revealed on Valentine's Day, where it showed them all in costume when they were in concept art, and they had their suits were more akin to pajamas rather than some high tech kind of superhero suits that we're used to seeing. So I am excited for that. It really does fit with the vibe of all the marketing, all the posters, the concept art we've seen. And yeah, it being in a different universe also goes with the theory that I had said, which was basically that I feel like they're gonna be stuck in a certain situation and then brought to the MCU and they'd be out of place, similar to Captain America in the first Avengers movie when he's brought out of ice and from like 1945 or in the period that he was to modern day. So I am honestly really excited for it. Every time I hear more and more about Fantastic Four, I get more excited for it. But at the same time, I don't want to hear that much more because I don't want to get any of the story spoiled. I don't know, man. A lot writing on the movie though, and I know it films later this year.
Yeah, for me, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing like Ebon Moss Bachrach, who's in one of the main showrunners in The Bear, and seeing Joseph Quinn from Stranger Things. That the quirky, I'm a metalhead guy. Oh, I'm Metallica. Say, like making their like, I don't know if those two actors have been in movies before, but in my head canon, to me, this is like their first movie, being a big one, being an MCU Disney film property. It's gonna be. I hope the best for them. I'm pretty sure they're gonna have their acting chops on the workbench being tested, and I hope that it works out for them and that they don't get replaced like how Rhodey was in the first Iron Man movie going into the second one. I think it's cool that it's set in the 60s. So see, the way I would see the plot like differing would be how the plot could happen was they're doing their thing, they exist, they're the main guys, they're the Avengers of their time period, and then they have to make the ultimate sacrifice, and right before they they all like perish and die, like they'll get like TP'd or teleported to like the main continuity, so that way it all makes sense, and they're like, oh my god.
I do agree with your theory though, because I do think that's gonna happen. Because it makes sense because Galactus is confirmed for this, and they're not gonna have Galactus lose on the first time that they reintroduce him into the MCU, similar to how he lost in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. I feel like they gotta lose, and then so kind of what you said, they're gonna be transported to the MCU, and then try to work towards avoiding what happened to their universe and the end of their universe, and then becoming the forefront of the MCU at that point.
Yeah, and then maybe we might see the male version of the Silver Surfer. Although, if I'm not gonna say stuck negatively, but if that's like the main Silver Surfer that we're going to be, having for the duration of the character's tenure in the films, then I wouldn't mind either. Yeah, it's up for grabs. It's like Infinity War or Endgame, not the same level of like hype, but definitely like that, like it's coming up on that same level of speculation of what ifs, like what could happen.
Yeah, I would say this movie for sure has the most intrigue out of the latest Marvel movies, to where you're like, you want to see what happens because of how important it's going to be for the universe. And it's not going to be like something that's going to happen and then be forgotten about in the next Marvel movie, you know? I feel like it's something that's going to have actual like effects that are gonna last in the universe. And man, I am so excited for Fantastic Four. I cannot emphasize how much excitement I have for it. Especially after seeing A Quiet Place recently, A Quiet Place Day One, and then seeing Joseph Quinn in that, seeing
Oh
him in
yeah,
a
there you
different,
go. I forgot
yeah,
about that one.
seeing him in a different role, in a more serious role from Eddie Munson in Stranger Things. Man, I'm so excited for it.
Bro, I feel they didn't fuck up his hairline like super hardcore in that one.
I think that's just his hairline, bro.
You think
Are you
so?
talking about his? Are you talking about it in A Quiet Place?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I think that's his natural hair.
Oh shit.
I'm pretty sure that's his natural hair
Oh,
because I've
homie,
seen
homie
interviews
looked
and
like he
stuff.
was
He has the
balding, bro.
exact same hair. Yeah, I think that's just him, bro.
Maybe I'm just misremembering, bro. That's funny. But
No, I'm pretty sure his hair was a wig in Stranger Things.
that makes sense. It was like that. That hair looks too good to be true. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, man. Any last final thought? The Fantastic Four movie.
Not necessarily thoughts, but more so I am gonna be attending San Diego Comic-Con in the next few weeks, and it's been teased that we're gonna see something Fantastic Four at Comic-Con. So if I'm there when something happens, that's gonna be amazing.
Hopefully something good.
Yeah, hopefully something good. Because I know that in San Diego right now, it's been like floating around pictures on the internet of San Diego Comic-Con kind of banners around the city. And some of them feature the Fantastic Four, and it's giving us our first kind of look at the silhouettes of the characters. And also gave us our first cartoon look at the Thing. I'm really excited to see if it actually shows something. I'm not expecting any footage or anything because obviously they haven't filmed anything yet. But I wouldn't be surprised if they showed us a look of them in their costumes from maybe like the screen test, just so we can see how they're gonna look in live action.
Yeah.
Or even like a panel with them with the four main actors together. I wouldn't put that beyond the possibility either.
Yeah. Hopefully the best maximum outcome happens, and during your trip to Comic-Con, you don't get let down in any way, man.
Even if they show nothing, I'm good with it. That the weekend of Comic-Con is also the weekend Deadpool Wolverine comes out. So I'm good with I'm good regardless.
I Gucci with the flip flops.
Hell yeah, bro.
Yeah, but hey, as stated early on in this episode, State of Play happened, the Xbox Showcase happened, and then now it seems like Nintendo was like, you know what, man, it's time for me to bring my gun to the table too, and that's what seemed to be the case with the Nintendo Direct that happened on this June of 2024. There were a lot of games that being shown, a lot of games that a lot of people were waiting for, a lot of unexpected ones, DLC, etc. You know, what were some 3 or 4 like notable or like games that you saw from the Nintendo Direct?
So the most notable for me, I'm gonna give you a few, but my top one would had to have been the reveal of the Marvel vs. Capcom collection, which we're gonna talk about extensively in a bit. But I would say that for sure because we haven't seen these games ported to new gen consoles yet. So it still technically isn't. We're gonna get more into that later. I'm still so excited for that. I would say that Metroid Prime, which you and I have talked about, you showed it to me. I had never played a Metroid Prime game, but that game is like a cool mix visually of like a mix of Doom and Halo, where it's like that fast-paced kind of shooter, but also given the Halo elements of the aliens and that kind of stuff. It really, not to take away from the franchise itself, because that's like a long-standing franchise, but just from an outsider's point of view, because I have never played those games personally, so I can't speak to how the other games were. That game looks beautiful. I would say that, and then of course Hello Kitty Island Adventure. That coming to consoles, amazing. The only reason I have a Switch is because of Animal Crossing. Me and my girlfriend went like half on it, and we got Animal Crossing, and then we ended up getting bored of it. But then Hello Kitty Island Adventure came out, and that sparked my interest. So I want to wait and get it on console. I know it's on phone, but nah, I want that console experience. So I haven't bought a Switch game. I think the last one I bought was like Lego Marvel 2. I for sure want to play that. And yeah, those are the ones that stuck out to me from Nintendo Direct. What about you?
Of course, there's Metroid Prime 4. I thought that was cool. Mario and Luigi Brothership. There hasn't been a Mario and Luigi game in a while. No, I'm not saying these in the manner that I'm gonna get them, but like seeing notable comebacks. We have Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, which is when the game originally came out, it was in 2010, so probably around when the Wii was out. That's definitely like a notable one. The fact that Nintendo Switch Sports is adding a basketball DLC is pretty noticeable, pretty notable, pretty cool. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. You have Metal Slug Attack Reloaded. I'm a big Metal Slug fan, always been. I played all of them up to like Metal Slug X.
Oh, I love Metal Slug.
Of
I
course,
forgot about that game. Damn, I forgot adding that.
yeah, of
Damn.
course. Yeah, Just Dance 2025, man. I think during COVID, I there was no way for me to go to the gym, so I was like, bro, Just Dance 2025, like 2020 or 2021. That was me, bro. I was just busting a move, man, in my living room, just nonstop for that cardio. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I might get that one. And then do you have, of course, as mentioned, Marvel vs. Capcom: The Fighting Collection, which comes with an onslaught of a whole bunch of games. Definitely something that will be on in my purchase history for sure. And moving towards like the classics, so you have The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, which includes a new multiplayer adventure called Four Swords. That's definitely a cool one. Piggybacking off of Metroid 4, you have some of its earlier works, one of them being Metroid Zero Mission. And you can't forget about these, although these are multi-platform, it's cool seeing the original Perfect Dark following in the footsteps of the new release coming to Xbox and PC, coming on the Switch as well, the original one. And Turok Dinosaur Hunter, it's definitely a big one, I would like to say. But yeah, like, it's crazy. It's Xbox and Nintendo definitely chose to release a bunch of bangers. But still no Switch 2. Nothing on that. But people are definitely speculating that there will be, like, the Metroid Prime 2. Metroid Prime 4 was when they revealed the gameplay and the release window for it, that it was actually recorded on the Switch 2. That's up for debate. But going from notable games to games that we definitely dug our heels in, there's Marvel vs. Capcom: The Fighting Collection, which is now already available for pre-order, man. Now, what's so special about this collection, bro?
So first of all, I'd say what's really notable about it and what's so special about it is that it's set to release before the end of the year. Set to release on Nintendo Switch, on PC, and PS4. This is really interesting to me because your first thought would be for next gen consoles, not it releasing on PS4. But then I also learned just literally before we started the podcast that according to IGN, the PS4 version will be playable on PS5 thanks to backwards compatibility. So if you have a PS5, you're still going to be able to play it. For people like me, I'm happy, so I don't have to hook up my PS4 just to play the game. I could just go on my PS5. But what's really cool about this game is that it's a collection, so it comes with multiple games, not just Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2. It comes with The Punisher from 1993. It comes with X-Men Children of the Atom, released in 1994. Marvel Superheroes, released in 1995. X-Men vs. Street Fighter from 1996. Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, released in 1997. And, of course, Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2. From all these, I personally have only played the second one, and it features my all-time favorite design for Venom, which is the blue symbiote. I eventually want to get that Venom tattooed also. But yeah, I would say that, oh man, I'm so excited for that collection. And I for sure will be pre-ordering very soon. That's honestly on one of my top wants for the year. So how do you feel about it?
I definitely, it's cool seeing the Punisher, of course, like right off the bat, because in the main continuity, given the history behind the Punisher's like logo and how it's been used and all that mess, Frank Castle is no longer an active member of the MCU for the foreseeable future. So it's cool seeing Frank Castle don the title of Punisher in the 1993 game. And of course, I'm a big Capcom Street Fighter guy. Seeing X-Men vs. Street Fighter, MVC 1 and MVC 2, New Age of Heroes. It's gonna be great. A lot of my friends are gonna get it. I've always been an avid fan of the arcade cabinet, like fighters. For my Switch, I have the Nintendo Switch, the OLED, because I'm swag like that. I have the Street Fighter.
Bro, luxurious.
Yeah, for real. No, I traded in my regular Switch and my PS4 for the OLED. So I only paid $40 for it, like the OLED for last
Oh,
year. I got it on layaway. But
hey, coded.
for real.
The original Klarna.
So I I got Street Fighter 2, which is like they did I think the Street Fighter 2 like new heroes or like remastered or whatnot. Let me see. And then I also got the Street Fighter Art Classic Collection as well, which is something I've been looking to get. Yeah, Ultra Street Fighter 2, the Final Challengers. That's the one that's called that. And because it comes with like Alpha 3, it comes with Third Strike, SF2 as the original one, and I think it's maybe like Street Fighter, maybe Alpha 2 as well. I don't remember. But I'm a big Street Fighter guy, so seeing this come to the Switch as well, I'm probably gonna cop it there. It's gonna be fun. Depending if my friends get it on different consoles, I might instead grab it on my PlayStation, or maybe if it's available for pre-order on my computer, I'll pick it up on Steam.
Oh, one thing I did forget to mention, not only does it feature all these new things, but it does have improvements on graphics, the introduction of online play, which is what you were talking about, and also extra additional features that we are yet to find out, but it's visually a beautiful game. You could tell it's been upscaled, and man, I'm so excited for this game. Like I said, I'm for sure gonna get it on PS5. And yeah, I hope it does well. I hope they do more of these kind of not remastered re-releases of these old games because I love this. I'm so down for these kind of old school fighting games or old school beat 'em ups, going back to the arcade vibe for the video games. I remember growing up, I used to go to this. It was like a taco place, but we would always go there for nachos. But that's completely irrelevant. But we would always go there, and they had two arcade machines. So they had Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and I think it was the first Resident Evil. Yeah, the Resident Evil, and so it had the arcade kind of guns. And I remember it was like the two, and I would always play with my brother. Man, it brings back so many memories. So I'm for sure gonna get this game. Try to convince my brother to get it so we can play. I'm hoping it does have a cross since it's released on very limited consoles, but we're yet to find anything out about that.
Yeah, of course. No, I feel like it's Capcom is. I feel like it's behind the restoration of these games. Which, yeah, I see. According to IGN, it is, as they said that they're, as Estecow put it, it has added plenty of extra features and quality of life improvements, such as PvP in the fighting games and Punisher being co-op. You can play it online in casual or ranked matches. And the IGN also states in their article there's a leaderboard for high score challenges and screen filters to make the games look more like how they did on CRT displays. Also
That's so
included,
hard.
yeah, it's really cool. Also included is the library of design documents and artwork used in development and promotion of the games, as well as a music player. There's a training mode where you can practice your special moves and see things like hitboxes for each character. And for newcomers who don't want to learn all the special moves, there's a one button feature you can enable to help them keep up with veterans, which is crazy that they're adding an easy mode. And all
I
of
know.
it, yeah, and for the people over in Japan and people who speak English, all of the arcade games are available in the English or Japanese versions as well. So which is pretty cool. The novelty is there. You see it. It's gonna be interesting in what they're gonna do. And hopefully, what's great though is that it's not Aspire, the development studio behind the botched Battlefront Classic Collection.
Oh,
So
don't worry. Don't worry. We'll get into them later.
yeah, we'll talk about them later. But for this specific collection, good news. But moving forward to the next Nintendo Direct game, which was honestly like insane, was the Metroid Prime 4 announcement. It's been so long since we've had a proper like 3D Metroid game. I think the last one was
Was in
like
2007.
yeah,
It was a
2000s.
Wii game.
Yeah, the Wii game.
Metroid Prime 3 Corruption.
And the latest one that was a 2D Metroid Prime, which is I don't remember what it's called, but it's cool seeing that they're bringing it back to its like 3D roots, or I guess to its 3D version, like how there's 2D Sonic and now there's 3D Sonic. It's cool seeing 3D Samus. Yeah, according to Wired.com, it said that it's been about 70 years since Nintendo first announced the game during 2017's E3 event, with developer Bandai Namco attached. At the time, Metroid Prime 4 was expected to close a decade-long gap between itself and the '07 Wii game, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. Other titles in the overall franchise, including Metroid The Other M, which got a lukewarm reception, and a remaster of Metroid Prime, which has dropped in the meantime, but none has satiated the desire for a new full Metroid release. Metroid Prime 4 was intended to do that until it disappeared. But now that you see, but in 2019, according to Wired, the project was like in development hell for a minute, and it seems like now they're finally like ready to ship an actual full game. It seems like they have the groundwork going, laid out. They showed an extensive gameplay showing like the enemies, the setting, and most of the mechanics. And it's cool. It's so it'll be available for Switch sometime into 2025. Wait, so as mentioned, they showed Samus scanning aliens, shooting everything, and turning into the classic like little ball that she always does. She's one of the more, I feel like in terms of like first oh my god, holy hell, first person shooter characters in single player settings, Samus Aran is definitely like up there in the top 10 most recognizable or influential out there, along Doom Guy and others. But yeah, it's cool. Hopefully, like with the release of Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, which it's now the full title, it'll release alongside the Switch 2, which people have been asking or wondering for the better part of the last 2 or 3 years since, or at least since the release of the OLED, when there'll be like a Switch Pro or something like that. But yeah, I said my piece. Like, you saw it with me. What did you think about Metroid Prime 4, man?
Like I said earlier, it is my first kind of introduction to Metroid Prime because I haven't played the games prior. But I am excited for this game, and I honestly am considering checking it out. I had said it does look like a mix between Doom and Halo, at least from obviously what I can gather and all the knowledge I have from video games and stuff. I remember when the Wii version of the game came out, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption came out, and I remember I always wanted to try it, but I never got into it because growing up, I didn't get into shooters till around 2009 when I got my Xbox 360. I wasn't on shooters then, so they didn't really appeal to me that much to where I had to get it. But as an adult who thoroughly enjoys shooters and loves all of that, I do really want to try it, and I am excited for the franchise. And I want to see Nintendo succeed, dude. I feel like Nintendo kind of goes through these hiccups where it does really well, and then it has a banger coming out, and then it goes just flat, and there's nothing going on. With Nintendo Direct and all these titles that they're showing, I'm more optimistic that they're gonna have more traction for the console and have more people wanting to play their Switch. I know, just based off of the releases that we were talking about, it does make me want to pick up my Switch again and play it a bit.
Yeah, yeah. I like, as a big critique of, or criticism, or whatever the word is, of AAA games. I definitely play like PC and my PlayStation the most. I don't play on my Switch often. If I do, it's like I just play Street Fighter, or they did port the Hotline Miami games, so I've been playing the shit out of those as well. But like, this will definitely one that will have me like sitting down, glued to my couch, playing nonstop. I might even stream. I might even hook it up, and I might stream it on Twitch for those who would like to check me out. It's like that grittiness that I like about it. It isn't like fanfare and rainbows, and yeah, your kiddo will have a good time playing this. It definitely seems like a game that's made for those that grew up with the '07 game and the GameCube game that came before it.
All right, moving on from that, going on to another banger from the Nintendo Direct, which, by the way, was way better than Sony's State of Play. Just want to add that. Just want to throw some
For
shade.
real, right? Isn't it crazy? How, here's the thing, man. It's 2 years. I looked back on it, and it's 2 years now in a row that State of Play has been like either lukewarm or like even forgettable.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're gonna do, if they're gonna have another event, or I don't know if Sony does, off the top of my head, if they do another like event later down the year where they show off like their actual like big hitters. But if this is all they're showing this year, like it's very, I don't know, it's strange, because it's been confirmed that, or maybe it's been also talked about here, that the PlayStation has sold the Xbox console like 2-1, at least even specifically probably this generation or not, or maybe it's from it's the PS4, PS5 against the Xbox One Series X. But it's like you have this huge player base, and yet they're not willing to capitalize on that by working on more first party titles. You have all these remasters, all these games being ported, these older games being ported to PC, which is cool. It's cool seeing like that delayed release for these games, these Sony exclusives to come to like Steam but there's nothing new, no new sequels, no notable new IPs. The only like the biggest two, of course, were Silent Hill 2 or like the remake of that one and the new Monster Hunter game. But other than that, it's forgettable, as you stated. Or uninteresting.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you, I off the top of my head, I don't even remember what was on State of Play.
Remember Conquered, bro? Oh yeah, Conquered, bro.
Is that the one is that the robot one?
It's the one that looks like Guardians of the Galaxy, but ended up being a hero shooter.
Ah, yeah, see, I don't even remember it.
Yeah, it's trash. Dead first year dead.
All right,
But
going
yeah,
that, going back to Epic Mickey Rebrushed, we talked about it on the podcast before. I know you were really excited about it.
yeah.
It officially got a release date, September 24th, 2024, so this year. Not only that, but it was also revealed the collector's edition. We love to talk about collector's editions on this podcast, which is revealed to be $200 that will come with a 28 centimeter paint dripping Mickey Mouse statue, and Oswald the Lucky Rabbit keychain, a vintage Mickey Mouse tin sign, 6 postcards, a steelbook for the video game, a digital costume pack, and then, of course, the game itself. As someone who's gonna buy this game and who is actively looking forward to it, I didn't really grow up on Nintendo, so this is more like your speed than my speed. What do you think about the collector's edition as it comes to the contents of it and then also the price of it?
Well, given inflation and like all that like all the monetary issues outside of what we talk about on this podcast, I feel like $200 is a little like on the high end regarding all the stuff that's being like released. We talked about which I think is like the best collector's edition to be released like since the Dead Space collector's edition, which is the Stalker 2 collector's edition. And for it being close to $450 to $500, I think it's insane, and I feel like it's so much worth. And maybe if we look at it from that scale, maybe the Mickey Mouse or the Epic Mickey Rebrushed collector's edition is like maybe worth like that $200. But I feel if this was something released like 2 or 3 years ago, I feel like maybe it wouldn't have been as worth. But it comes with like some things, but not enough for me to get it myself. But if I were to buy the game, I would probably buy it like in the first week, probably the basic or the deluxe edition with the skins and stuff. But like nothing more than that, nothing collectible. It looks great, and it looks like it's releasing March 25th, I believe. Oh, they'll be released 24th, September 24th, 2024. Along with the 200 collector's edition. Yeah, it'll be cool.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna buy this game. I'll wait to your review for it, but I know it is coming out on other consoles. It's gonna be on PS5 and Xbox. So if it's on Game Pass, I'll check it out. It is made by the studio. It is being developed by the studio Purple Lamp, which is also the studio behind SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated and SpongeBob SquarePants The Cosmic Shake. So I think it's in good hands. I think it's gonna be fire because I love SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. I still need to finish it, the rehydrated version, but that game is so fun.
Yeah, definitely. And going from one Disney property to one that was acquired not to like probably around the time that the original Epic Mickey came out. Yeah, Star Wars Bounty Hunter, and it's also getting a remake by one notorious studio. Tell me about it.
But yeah, it was just recently announced that Star Wars Bounty Hunter, originally released in 2002, was getting a remake courtesy of Aspire, basically being made by the same developers who brought us the recent Battlefront collection, which is known for its many faults at launch and like its failure at launch because of its lack of support and then its lack of features for the game. as well as all its bugs. And so yeah, the game itself, I've never played the original version, but visually it does look really good. It's been AI upscaled, similar to how the Battlefront collection was, so it does look better than its original version. There are some new things about it. It's getting, yeah, graphics upscaled. There's a Boba Fett skin that's in it's a hint at an Easter egg from the original game. But yeah, so now you can unlock it and then play as Boba Fett. So yeah, I honestly don't know. The developer outside of this was known for its Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered. So I don't know how this is gonna go. It does have a 1999 price tag. It is gonna be released on every console. So old gen and new gen plus Steam and PC. I'm I don't know how to feel about this. The trailer looks sick,
But so
but
did the collectors, like the Star Wars collection did too.
yeah, the Battlefront collection, yeah. And see, I did not end up buying that because of all the backlash.
Yeah.
I feel like eventually I might because I do want to play it and like it has online and stuff or whatever. But I'm just waiting for them to fix the game before I spend money on it. So
I remember,
I'm gonna have to see how this game does at launch before I decide if I'm gonna buy it or not.
yeah, I remember if you're, when the collection came out for Star Wars Battlefront, done by Aspire, I actually was one of the few people that pre-ordered and bought the game. And man, like Estecow definitely heard me talk about it lividly, and I was
Yeah, bro was not happy. I can tell you that.
no, I was not. This is a single player game, so they have to do like half of the work at most of what they had to do with the collection, with the
Yeah, they don't
Battlefront
have to.
collection.
They don't have to deal with server issues, online balancing, weapon balancing, kind of stuff like that. It's basically just porting an old game and then adding new textures to it and slightly new features. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it for sure, though.
Yeah, as .net says, drop it like it's hot. It's gonna be pretty fire.
That's
I just
funny
had
as
to
fuck,
read
bro.
that.
It's all good, bro.
My girl is gonna cringe at that when she reads that, but it's amazing.
Of course. So let's see. You're a gamer also stated that the modern platforms with visual enhancements, improved environmental textures, new dynamic lighting effects, and a new flashlight tool. There's that, yeah, and then of course we have the Boba Fett skin as mentioned. But yeah, best of luck. To those who pre-ordered this game. It's nowadays definitely feels like pre-ordering a game is like gambling or putting money on stocks. Like
It
putting
really
it,
is. It really does feel like gambling.
putting it
You don't
all.
know.
Like,
You
I'm
don't
gonna
know
put
what
it
you're
all
getting.
black. Let's do it. Fuck, I just lost the house. It's an arm and a leg for some of these games nowadays, especially being $70. But
For
20
real. I mean,
bucks,
luckily,
it's
yeah,
still
20
crazy,
bucks.
man. Like you could definitely spend that on like a new Fortnite skin or something. But because
Bro, it's crazy that a skin is $20, but yeah, I get what you mean.
yeah,
I'm not gonna act like I don't buy Fortnite skins. I know you do, so I'm not gonna.
oh god, bro. So I'm
Really.
still waiting on them to release like Rambo or John McClane from Die Hard into Fortnite. But we'll talk more about that later this episode, as we have Ubisoft, the CEO of Ubisoft, saying that they confirmed that multiple Assassin's Creed titles are getting remakes that are on the way. What was the last Assassin's Creed that you can say that you really enjoyed, man?
So the only one I have experience with is the first one, and I remember it being fun. I remember it being like it was on the 360 days, so it was like way back when. So I didn't get the same experience as you did. I know you were really into Assassin's Creed at one point in your life, and you have a lot of experience with this. And I know exactly how you feel about all the remakes that for these games. I want to get into your thoughts and opinions on it.
Oh boy. Yeah, so here's the thing. When a lot of people, so diverting just a little bit, when it comes to EA, a lot of people give EA a lot of shit. A lot of
A lot of flack.
a lot of criticism, a lot of flack because of all the predatory prices that they do when it comes to like their sports games or their recently failed what I feel like their failure, which is Battlefield 2042. But like when it comes to their single player games, man, like Dead Space was, oh man, like it was amazing. Like they knocked it out of the park and entirely. And then like in other words, like it was basically on par with like the Resident Evil 4 with the Resident Evil 2 remake. And then as we previously talked about Star Wars with the what is it Jango Fett game, you have Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor, and although Survivor has some issues, especially on PC with the way it handles like the story, the mechanics, the movement. for the most part, are really enjoyable. They're fun, and yeah, they were like solid games overall. Like there weren't really complaints based on like the core aspects of the game. But seeing Ubisoft, man, I don't trust Ubisoft. They're garbage. They're Ubi crap, Ubi shit. Let's see, like the stuff that they did with Valhalla, Origins. Like they have that new Assassin's Creed coming up, and I'm not really looking forward to it either. I am worried though because of these the Assassin's Creeds the first came out. Those were the ones that really put the franchise on the map. There's one, two, there's Brotherhood. So there's Brotherhood is 1, 2, Brotherhood, Revelations, 3, Unity. I thought there was 3, Black Flag, and then Unity. And to me, that's where like the series was like peaked with like 4, and then Unity was where like it was like the last like heartbeat before it became like a walking corpse of itself. Followed by Syndicate. So seeing how they implemented a ton of like terrible microtransactions to their later like Assassin's Creed single player titles, which they all are, and then inundated them with like nonstop like pointless like objectives, like quest markers, just a bunch of stuff, a bunch of crap that filled your screen. It makes me worried that they're gonna inundate the original games with the same crap as well. If they truly wanted to make these games sell well and be praised at the same time, I feel like they should follow in the same footsteps as Electronic Arts and just remake the games, but keep it basically all the same with just updated like mechanics that make the game playable for the modern consoles and modern audiences. I'm not asking for, I don't know, Altair to have a shotgun or a machine gun or, like some crazy like mechanic I don't know. Because like in the new, I think in the last Assassin's Creed game, it was a prequel to the first one. And then one of the mechanics was that you had the ability to like teleport everywhere. Whereas in the first game, all the way up until like Black Flag, as I remember, you had eagle vision. And I don't know, man.
You could teleport?
Yeah, you would basically have it where it would stop time, or like it would slow down, like slow time to a crawl, and then you could be like, I want to target this character, this character, and then this character, and then you press like one button, and then you just kill everybody in the room. There's like that sneaking aspect still exists in the new one, but it's okay. We're definitely not. We're not in Kansas anymore, man. We're not in Constantinople anymore.
I feel like that's so far from formula, but to each their own. Like I said, I don't have that much experience with it. But Assassin's Creed has never really been my kind of franchise, not something that I've gravitated towards and stuff. But it is interesting that they're doing all these remakes. And like you said, the only really thing I like from Ubisoft is Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order. Aside from that, I'm kind of good on Ubisoft.
It was EA that made the Jedi games.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
The
Yeah,
only,
never mind. Ubisoft. What does Ubisoft have then?
I guess, the up and coming, notoriously perfect game, Star Wars Outlaws or whatnot.
Oh, you know what? You know what game Ubisoft has? Siege. I like Siege a lot, actually.
There you go. Yeah,
I forgot that's from Ubisoft. Yeah,
yeah.
Rainbow Six Siege.
It's crazy, man, because they pandered to the widest like margin possible, and then it just makes their games like all like mediocre, instead of being like, you know what, we're gonna stick to this demographic, and we're gonna push it, and then we're gonna test it to its limit, because that's what they did with the second one. It was really gritty, like it's definitely a game that to be remembered. And then 3 was what really put like Far Cry on the map for like everybody, including myself.
Oh yeah, same. I love Far Cry 3.
Exactly. Like although that's where you started seeing that trend of in Ubisoft games, or maybe in a bunch of games at the time, have the climbing that tower mechanic to release like a bunch of the map. But it's like Far Cry was one of the few that started that, so it can be excused. The story was phenomenal, like the villains were great, although like the main villain at the end isn't as memorable as the second to last one, which is the guy in the cover, Voss Montenegro. But Far Cry has been on a steady decline since Far Cry 4. 4 was great, but it was nowhere near 3. It was definitely a step down from 3. I'll say that. Cult Rex, 80s, man. Lasers, synthwave music, hackers. That was cool. Then yeah, like Primal, 5, and then like I played 6 thoroughly from beginning to end, and yeah, man, like even with the acting power of Giancarlo Esposito, it was like it was not it was not like Far Cry at its core. I think it was like Far Cry the title, and it was built around a concept that is Far Cry, that it wasn't like Far Cry. It almost like someone who is art just trying to be Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, and even if they try to even if they act exactly like him to a T, you look at him and that's still not RDJ, man. It feels like that to me when it comes to Far Cry and the latest Assassin's Creed games. But
Okay.
but moving from somber and just remembering better times, nostalgic times, we have a new release that's definitely been dividing a lot of people, which is the Elden Ring DLC. So like, why is it such a pain in the ass for these folks? What
Uh,
makes it so complicated?
so the main thing that the biggest gripe that everyone is having, or the majority of the fan base is having, is the difficulty of it, and then the performance of it. So a lot of us is really struggling with how difficult it is, which I think is pretty funny, because that's the whole like gist of those games. Those games are known for being more rage inducing because you have to be more strategic with how you play. And I just thought it was funny. The creators being like, oh, that's what they're made for. They're made to be difficult games. So that way, when you beat the game, you feel like you accomplished something because you're doing something that a lot of people can't do. Um, and I know, yeah, what this IGN article was talking about. It's a good DLC, but performance has gone down with the latest update. So it's really suffering from micro stuttering, from frame drops, freezes, as well as increasing loading times, making it difficult to enjoy and play the game. So I think that's the biggest issue with it, more so than the difficulty, because at this point, at least based off of what everyone's saying, that it's more like unplayable, like literally because it's so buggy. I would say that that's the biggest issue that they should be focusing on, not the difficulty. I think that part's funny. But what are your thoughts on it?
It's definitely been I a lot of my friends have been incessantly telling me to get the DLC because I have played Elden Ring and have beat it. I had my fun with it. Not really getting the DLC, but it's definitely been getting a lot of flack for the intensified difficulty that a lot of players noticed as they played the game with with a 65% on the DLC's 32,722 user reviews on Valve's platform regarding the DLC. Like the bosses are cool, but the set pieces look interesting. I personally think it's like a case of get good scrub. Like it might maybe for some people it might be like, oh, that's bullshit, blah 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 blah. How could you design the bosses to be this way and whatnot? But it's not for me. It's like I see gameplay and I see people beating the game, so it's not like it's impossible. It just requires you to, as you mentioned, to strategically play it differently.
I do also think that it comes down to like attention span also. People can't nowadays people don't have the patience to sit through something or like to struggle with something, so they'll just give up. In comparison to how it was back then, back in our days, where you just keep playing something until you beat it because you just became so obsessed with beating it.
Like, bro, I got a
But
job.
yeah, yeah. But nowadays, people were just like, I can't really get through the story. I'm done. Which, to each their own. That's valid, but it's just I feel like nowadays a lot of people will like barely have time to play. At least people in our age groups will barely have time to play, so they don't want to play something that's gonna have them struggling. They're gonna want to play something like Fortnite or something that's really like digestible and like easier to handle like mentally after a long day.
Jokingly, perhaps Capcom should partner up with From Software and add a one button move like how they are with the Marvel.
Hey, why did I think of that too though? I was just like, damn, they should add like an easy mode or something,
Yeah,
man.
call it baby or bitch mode, just for people to be like, just to beat it on that, just so they could not get that satisfaction.
Yeah, so they could just get that story.
The what is it, the reviewer mode? Because I know notoriously a lot of like people that review games like Elden Ring have a hard time doing so, which is funny. If you remember that when like I don't know which publication tried to review Cuphead and they were just stuck on the tutorial.
I don't know which one that was, but I know exactly what you're talking about though.
Yeah. But yeah, the DLC is definitely making its rounds. It also, I believe it has also surpassed the Witcher 3's DLC Blood and Wine on Metacritic as the highest rated video game expansion of all time. It's as IGN stated, I quote, like the base game did before it, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree raises the bar for single player DLC expansions. It takes everything that made the base game such a landmark RPG, condenses it into a relatively compact 20 to 25 hour campaign, and provides fantastic new challenges for heavily invested fans to chew on. That's a lot of time, a lot of stuff for them to do. Plenty to do, plenty to see, and plenty of struggles. But we talked about like wanting to turn off your brain and go into easy mode. And there's no better to do that than reliving the past with the Pirates of the Caribbean coming over to Fortnite next month. Or like this month. So according to Eurogamer, it was leaked. It was either leaked or something that there was going to be a Pirates of the Caribbean crossover coming with the data miners quickly finding the skins. Some being you have Davy Jones. I don't know the guy's name from the first movie. And then you have that chick who was like, what's his face? Was it Orlando Bloom's girlfriend in the trilogy?
Yeah, Elizabeth Swan. That's her name in the thing.
Yeah, and of course Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
So it seems that there's going to be an entire like event pass happening, akin to that of I guess the Lego pass that they have.
For Star Wars for Chewbacca.
Yeah, and then they have the music pass for Metallica. And in the past, they had one for Jujutsu Kaisen, and now they're going to have another one on top of that for, in this case, for Pirates.
With the last skin actually being the cursed version of Jack Sparrow, which comes out in the first movie when they have the pirate's curse. I forgot exactly what it's called, but like when they're in specific, I think it's specific lighting, they like are just full on skeletons of themselves, like cursed version of themselves, which is pretty sick. I mean, it becomes like a Lego version of it. I'm honestly really excited for these crossover. Like Fortnite's been killing it with all their crossovers with Fallout right now, with a mix of Mad Max kind of stuff. Right now they're in the middle of an X-Men thing. We have Magneto recently being added. We got Wolverine with the Weapon X skin. There's a lot of new things that I feel like no other live service game kind of does Fortnite.
Well, yeah, I mean, they started it all. They're the founding father of
They're the
live
pioneers.
service. Yeah, man, it's cool to see. And there's emotes like the jar of dirt, which is him doing either like a run or like a dance, where he's carrying Davy Jones's heart in the jar of dirt, I think.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. No Orlando Bloom though, so I guess it couldn't get
Will
rights.
Turner.
Yeah, Will Turner. But it's cool. You know, it's on the lighter side of things, coming from rage-inducing Elden Ring DLC to Fortnite. But speaking on data mining, we have Mortal Kombat 1 being data mined to hell and back, where it looks like there's a couple new characters, or maybe some returning ones, coming to the latest iteration of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, so it was recently revealed the next characters for the upcoming season pass, because Mortal Kombat is always notorious for having 2 season passes. Right now it has the one with Homelander ending with Takeda, which is going to be in July. And then comes out this month, yeah. And then this is from Combat Pack 2. So the data mined characters, which are essentially confirmed because of how they were able to find files for their voices and just all this information that basically confirmed it. We have Cyrax, which has been in majority of the games. We have Cyrax, we have Sector, we have Noob Saibot. All 3 of these characters have been like reoccurring characters in the series. So I'm excited to have them in it. I love the Cyber Initiative characters. And I'm wondering if it's going to be the Cyber Initiative versions of the characters or if it's going to be like the human versions of the characters. Either way, I'm down for it. We got Conan the Barbarian. Sick, obviously. We have the T-1000. This one was interesting to me because they just did the Terminator skin with Arnold in Mortal Kombat 11. So I feel like that's too similar. I mean, I know that the T1000 has more of like the forming kind of powers where it like is like that
Liquid.
melted, yeah, the liquid metal kind of thing. So as long as it plays a little different and has different abilities than the Arnold one, which is basically just like gun and like walking pound and stuff, I'm down for it. And then the biggest one that I have been waiting for in Mortal Kombat for years, and I have been asking for this for years. I'm a big horror fan. We got Ghostface. Ghostface is finally gonna be in Mortal Kombat. This has been the horror character that I've been wanting for so long. Every since Mortal Kombat 9, we've had at least one horror character in each of the Mortal Kombat games. We have in Mortal Kombat 9, we have Freddy Krueger, and in Mortal Kombat X, which had the most, it had Jason Voorhees, it had Alien and Predator, it had Leatherface, and then in Mortal Kombat 11, what was the horror character for that one?
Predator, maybe? Alien?
Or wait, Mortal Kombat 11. Who was that? Am I tripping? Did it not have a horror character?
Freddy Krueger, I think?
No, because that was Mortal Kombat 9. Okay, so Mortal Kombat 11, as far as I can remember, did not have a horror character aside from Terminator, and which I wouldn't even consider a horror character. But yeah, we're going back to a horror character with Mortal Kombat 1. I'm hella excited for Ghostface. All the opportunities for the cosmetics, for the killers. I think it would be funny if at the end of a fatality, he reveals himself to be like one of a mystery character every time. Just because in the Scream movies, it's always some mystery person that's revealed at the end of the movies. So what are your thoughts on it?
I think it's definitely I think the lineup is cool. I enjoyed the returning characters. It's always great seeing fan favorites come back. I think that especially Noob Saibot, I think he was probably the out of this when it comes to the three that are from the original series. Noob Saibot is the most notable one for me, especially when he made his debut. I think it was in Mortal Kombat 9. If he was in Mortal Kombat 9,
Yeah, Mortal Kombat 9. Yeah,
yeah, I think he was one of the most notable characters.
guys, and then bring him back to life.
Yeah, and then they have I think the Team 1000 to me, and the Conan would be like a super like second, be the most interesting ones because as you mentioned, they have Arnie already from like T2 or T1 or whatnot, and like from in the previous game. So it'll definitely have to be it's definitely a creative approach mixed in if they ever do if when Mortal Kombat 2 comes out, right? Maybe they might even add John Connor. Who knows? But I do want to ask you a question and flip this on its head. Is how do you feel about the fact that because they add these guest characters that they are unfortunately taking up spots for returning Mortal Kombat characters that a lot of people would like to come back as well.
See, I'm mixed on this because as a fan of the franchise, yeah, there are characters you would want to see that aren't normally part of the roster. But for the most part, I feel like Mortal Kombat 1, the main roster that it already has the main heavy hitters that you would want. It is like a rebooted universe. It, out the gate introduces everyone. So honestly, I'm okay with guest characters as long as they're used in like a way that's I don't know. If it's like a character that actually means something, you know? There's been previous ones where I thought was a waste. Joker was a waste in my opinion. For the last game. Rambo I wasn't really a fan of. They had RoboCop, but RoboCop was cool. But Rambo was just a guy with a knife and a gun. Wasn't the most compelling thing for me in a Mortal Kombat game because when you think of Mortal Kombat, you think of fatality. So you want someone who's violent, like someone who you look at and you'll be like, yeah, they could for sure kill someone, or they could for sure do creative things to someone. Which is basically what you're more looking for. You're looking for like that shock value, you know. So I'm cool with guest characters taking up spots as long as the game itself already comes with the main people, the more popular characters that you want.
Yeah. So what would be some returning Mortal Kombat characters that you would like to see as well?
That is a good question. That's not in it. I know. Damn, what's his name? Nightwolf is one of them. I know he was in Mortal Kombat 11. I don't think he's in Mortal Kombat 1. Yeah, no, he's not because they tease him, but they don't really use him. That's one character for sure. Trying to think more. There is Kotal Khan. He's in Mortal Kombat X. He's the one who challenges Shao Kahn. He's like like blue skin. That's one character I would like to see come back. For the most part, like I said, they pretty much have everyone I would want. They have all my main characters. They bring back Sindel. They have all these kind of returning older characters like Havoc that I'm honestly really down for. And just I honestly would like to see more of these older characters that aren't well known that came out in the first few Mortal Kombat games, like the kind of like side characters or the characters that you would see that you would have to do specific things to unlock, kind of thing.
I think for me, it'd be cool if they added like this, I guess, like a funny haha thing, like Striker from Mortal Kombat 9.
Oh yeah, I think you know what in Mortal Kombat 1 they do tease him, so I think he's gonna be in the sequel. I'm pretty sure.
He is I believe, a cameo character.
Yeah, he is. Oh yeah, he is. Oh, you know who's one character who I do want to see who came out in Mortal Kombat X? Boracho.
Who is that again?
He's their master. He's like the guy who like burps and like farts and stuff. It's like a bigger guy.
Okay.
He's like really fun to play as though. I know it sounds like hella childish, but I swear he's a fun character to play as.
Is Ermac in? No, they did add Ermac.
Yeah, he's in the DLC in Combat Pack 1.
The is Smoke in the new one?
Yeah, he's in the main story. He's in the main game.
And then let's see, Cabal would be cool if they don't have him.
Is he in it? No, you know what? I don't think he's in it. Because technically they like Liu Kang tried to reverse some of the bad stuff, and that was one of the things he reversed. So Cabal's not in it. That is one character. You know what? That's one character I would want to see because I do really enjoy it. He honestly was my main for Mortal Kombat 9 and X, and even 11, because like super speed, and then I loved him in the Mortal Kombat movie, the recent one that we just got.
Okay.
So yeah, I'd agree with that.
Would you like them to add any different like what kind of maps would you like them to add to like with accompanying these characters?
I mean, with the DLC that they're adding in now, I would love to see. I mean, if you look at Ghostface, like Sidney Prescott's house is like really iconic to the series, so I would love to see that map. Would be pretty cool. To have a map in a little house would be cool. That or also the very first scene in the first Scream movie where it's like a white mansion and we're introduced to the voice of the killer and he chases the girl and he kills the boyfriend who's like a jock and he like slits his like stomach open. That would be a really cool map to play as because that's such a like hardcore reference kind of thing that I think Mortal Kombat fans would really love. I think that would be really cool. Terminator, there's so many maps they could do for that would be for the T1000. You think of the T1000, you think of that highway scene. That would be really cool to do the underground tunnel highway scene that they have from that movie, from Terminator 2, I believe, right?
Yeah, to me, dude, I think for the T1000, bro, like the factory where like
Oh, true.
where they have that final showdown because it's like that place it like they have an actual like fight because the freeway is a notable set piece from the movie, but it was all they were moving like constantly, so it would be they would have to like tailor that setting to make it look like a like fighting arena for sure.
Yeah, true. Okay, that's valid.
And
Um,
Conan, I think's like put him in a fucking jungle or some shit. I don't know.
yeah, that was the least interesting probably. Noob Saibot obviously bring back the forest from MK9 where he first comes out, where Quan Chi brings him up. That would be so sick if they brought that map back with the trees that are alive that you could use the fatality so they could eat you. Bro, come on,
I was
that would be sick.
I was
The living forest, I think that's what it's called.
there's also like the factory where they come like the tribe the Borgs come from.
Yeah, where they do the cyber initiative. Yeah, I'd also be down to see that.
Yeah. I think what about like guest characters? What guest characters would you like them to add like in later ones? Besides like a horror movie and any other franchise?
A horror movie, I do want to see Ash Williams. I'm a big Evil Dead guy.
Yeah.
They have hinted at Michael Myers being eventually added in one of the games. I'd be down for that. They did tease Pinhead. They did tease Chucky. There's still some characters that they can do. I was honestly surprised that they did Ghostface, but I'm so excited for that, for the voice interactions and just all the fatalities and stuff. I'm so excited for that. I'm also one that I really do want to see that I feel like would fit well with the universe is from a movie called Terrifier, Art the Clown. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie.
He's all white and black.
Yeah, I feel like, bro, that movie, I haven't seen the second one, but the first one is pretty like, it is very graphic and it has like one of the most interesting kills that I've seen in a movie. So I would love to see that as a fatality. They like basically a girl's hanging upside down and he cuts her in half from the bottom up, basically.
Wow.
It's crazy. It's a crazy visual.
I guess if I were to add, see, I'm gonna be a little silly, but I would like to see Tony Hawk in Mortal Kombat,
Okay.
and what is it, Fred Durst from like the lead singer of Limp Bizkit in Mortal Kombat as well. I feel like
Okay. These are the most obscure characters, but okay, I'm down for
yeah,
it.
because if you look at, he was originally in, at least Fred Durst was in a fighting game before, and it was Def Jam. So I think seeing Fred Durst graduate from Def Jam to Mortal Kombat would be cool as fuck. Because it like maybe they might even have a like a Def Jam like stage with Def Jam. Like maybe you have like Limp Bizkit references with like playing like My Way or the Highway. Like
Yeah.
that'd be cool, you know, shit like that, bro. That'd be cool as fuck.
Well, you know who else would be cool since they did do Homelander? A Soldier Boy guest appearance would be cool too.
Yeah, I would agree. And if they
Because
were,
playing with the shield and stuff, I know that the closest one that does that is like Peacemaker because he has his shield. But I don't know. I feel like that's such a unique character, and I feel like that'd be really sick.
yeah, like Soldier Boy has what, like a laser beam and a shield, and Peacemaker
Yeah,
has a shield and a gun.
yeah,
So
and they're not afraid to add characters with similar kind of characteristics but different playsets. So I'm cool with it. I'd be down for that.
there you go.
Visually, that'd be really cool.
And then moving from things that we would like to see, and we were getting things that we feel should have been there in the first place, which is Payday 3 finally getting an offline mode, but it requires online to play and runs worse than normal. So that's what IGN claims as with their new article title, which is what I said. But what's up with that, man?
Yeah, so the introduction of an offline mode has been something that people have been asking for so long for Payday 3. So the fact that it requires online and then it runs worse than the regular playthrough is really like, why would you even bother adding it if at that point if it's not even like ready? Because that's essentially what it is. It's weird, okay, because I don't know if PC experiences this, but for consoles, whether it's PlayStation or Xbox, if you have a digital version of the game and you're not connected to the internet, you can't even open those games. Even if you own it, you technically do not have access to the game without online connectivity. To me, it's not that different from the average kind of thing you would have to deal with if you buy games digitally. Because there's been moments in my life where I had gone a little bit without internet and I couldn't even access some of my favorite games because I would be like, oh, I want to play campaign. Oh, wait, I don't have internet. I can't even open up the game because it says I don't own it. And it falls back into what we talked about before with, you not owning a game, but renting like the licensing for it to be able to play it. So yeah, no, I don't get that. The fact that it like requires online to play makes no sense to me, especially if it's just going to be worse than what it is.
Yeah, I was personally let down by the game overall, so seeing this as like news doesn't really, it's not surprising at all. When I first was excited for the game, I was like, "Oh, cool! They're just it's gonna be the same like mechanics with updated movement systems and new customizable, options." But nope, they tried to, for some reason they do this thing which is symptom with all studios where they're like, you know what, man, we're gonna reinvent the wheel again. Clearly, this game was successful, so we're gonna do everything different this time, and it'll be just as successful. And Lord and behold, it doesn't, man. And I'm a big Payday fan. I have a custom replica mask of Dallas, the guy with the American flag on his mask. And I dressed up as him for Halloween for the past 3 years to pass out candy or going to Halloween parties and whatnot. And I played Payday 2 a lot. I'm invested in the lore, the gameplay. Like I have stealth runs. I have stealth builds as well. I have loud builds. Like I understand the card system in that game, infamy, all of that. I've collected a lot of the masks as well, designed a couple of my own. And then when I bought this game, I was thinking like, oh, cool. This is gonna be a good game. And then I played it and I was disappointed with how bad it was. Like I generally was mad that day. Like it really ruined my day seeing that what the state of the game was when it released and how like what they did to this game in the first place. I saw it, man, and I gave it. I tried to cope myself into thinking like, oh, maybe I just gotta get used to it. Maybe it's like a skill ceiling type deal, but no, it's just mediocre. It's just mediocre. It's mind-numbingly mediocre and not worth. It's crazy because with the when it so IGN said that Payday 3's launch in September of 2023 was somewhat of a disaster, plagued with server issues that forced the Starbreeze CEO back then to apologize. And it said, "We are so sorry that the infrastructure didn't hold up as expected, although it's impossible to prepare for every scenario, which should be able to do better." But now he left the company, probably because of his shit decisions. And almost a month after its launch, and Starbreeze apologized again for its lack of communication. Then a week later, it said sorry for one more time for not delivering a promised patch, and again going quiet. And it said in January 2024 that it is well aware of fans were not being satisfied. They know it's bad, bro. They know the game is ass. It's bad, garbo. And I don't know, man. It's like you can't. It's really hard making an omelet with like rotten eggs. So I'm not Payday 3. It's definitely in my rear view window. I'm still looking back though, but I've definitely moved past it already.
Oh yeah, I did play Payday 3. It was cool for a week, and then I just phased out of it. So yeah, I don't know. I don't even have it downloaded on my console anymore, so I don't know if I'm gonna go back to it at any point. But yeah, no, I do feel like the hype really died for the game, and especially with how it's struggling to get these patches and the attention it deserves that the fan base is really craving, and they're being left in the dark with the developers just disappearing whenever they hear backlash for the game.
For real. But hey, to end off on a positive note, at least for those that are very stingy with their money, or maybe looking
Me.
to get or looking to get the most out of their buck, Steam is finally having a summer sale. And there's a lot of games that are out right now that are formerly like $60 or $50 or even $40, but are now on sale for pennies on the dollar. There's, based on the Kotaku article, what are like 5 games that just say that look interesting to you that are like dirt cheap right now?
All right, so you got Hogwarts Legacy, which is normally $60, going for $24. You got Rainbow Six Siege, which I recommend to everyone. It's normally $20. It's $8 now. We got Doom Eternal, normally $40. It's $10. We got The Witcher 3 going from $40 to $4. And then I know the one that you were hella excited for, Back for Blood,
Oh yeah,
normally
bro.
$60.
Goaty, game of the year.
$6. Yup. What about you? What do you think? What are the deals that you went for? I know you got Back from Blood already, bro.
Oh
Come
yeah,
on, you were
totally.
hella hyped.
Yeah. I bought it like day one, bro. So unfortunately, I missed out on that deal, But no, I'm just kidding. But it's I think Castle Crashers being from $15 to $1.50. It's crazy. It's cool seeing like the Battlefield games being like on sale as well, such as 5 being $3.50 instead of 50, 2042 instead of being 60 to 6. That's 10 times less. That's like the math. If I'm mathing
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
for my racing folks, you got to set a course, or my driving folks in general, American Truck Sim, both going for $2 instead of the 20. And of course, if you like Lord of the Rings and look for some like Witcher-esque style gameplay, you have Middle Earth: Shadow of War being $2.50 as well. But tons of games on sale right now. I would take advantage of those sales as soon as possible. Get them while you can, because it's Steam's summer sale. There's not a winter one, at least not that I know of. But yeah, this was the latest episode of the Wondrous Podcast. My name is Retro Loneliness, or Nicholas. You could find my stuff on Twitch, Instagram, and everything else on the link tree. Feel free to check out the last episode as well, where we talked about the Xbox showcase and the state of play in further details, among other things. And of course, the glorious, amazing, and sometimes even passionate hater.
Yep, it's me. This has been Esteban, also known as Estecow. Thank you guys for joining us today, and hope to hear you next time.
Thank you. Bye.